What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I just wanted to talk about something. This might be a short episode, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it might be a little bit of a rant episode and a rambling episode. But I saw an article today that really made me think about the state of the MAGA movement. Make America Great Again. America First. Those were action-packed slogans back in 2016 when Trump was originally running for office, and we had a bunch of high hopes and dreams of what the conservative movement was going to look like under his leadership. But what has the MAGA movement become? Is what it is right now the best thing to be? Or has it turned into something completely different than what we originally stood for? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome back to Zack Unfiltered. So I'm just going to start out this episode by reading the article that I came across online today that really kind of got me to really sit and ponder about the conservative movement, about MAGA, where we are at right now. So I'm going to pull that article if I can get to it. And I am a one-man show, so bear with me here. Okay. Here we go. Here we are. So it says immigration officers assert sweeping power to enter homes without a judge's warrant, memo says. Okay. Federal immigration officers are asserting sweeping power to forcibly enter people's homes without a judge's warrant, according to the Internal Immigration and Customs Enforcement memo obtained by the Associated Press, marking a sharp reversal of longstanding guidance meant to respect constitutional limits on government searches. The memo authorizes ICE officers to use force to enter a residence based solely on a more narrow administrative warrant to arrest someone with a final order of removal, a move that advocates say collides with the Fourth Amendment protections and upends years of advice given to immigration communities. The shift comes as the Trump administration dramatically expands immigration arrests nationwide, deploying thousands of officers under a mass deportation campaign that is already reshaping enforcement tactics in the city of Minneapolis. Now, I will say that in the city of Minneapolis, there's a lot of bad stuff that is going on. Excuse me. But what do you guys think about that? What do we think about that? Conservatives, I assume it's mostly my conservative friends that are watching this. What do we really think about disregarding the Constitution? Now, whenever I joined the conservative movement, whenever I started coming up into my teenage years and started getting political, I thought conservatives were all about the rule of law. They were all about doing things the right way. The Constitution protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures. And I feel like this is an egregious violation. Okay. The fact that we are giving somebody headed, a group headed by the executive branch of government, the power to just go in to any house and kick down the door and go in without a search warrant is outrageous, and you ought to be outraged. Why is the Trump administration acting like this? What have we become? What has MAGA become? You know, something previously that I'd gotten upset about is that the reaction of Trump to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been was the biggest supporter of Trump, one of the biggest supporters of Trump, his policies, his presidency, the stealing of the 2020 election. And we're going to kick her aside for what? We're going to he puts out this long truth social against Marjorie Taylor Greene for what? For standing up against, more wars overseas, standing up to the military industrial complex, and for demanding the release and the justice of the victims of Epstein and the release of the Epstein files. Those are the only things that we had against him. Other than that, and Thomas Massey's the same. He's against endless wars overseas all of the time. Continually being funded by AIPAC and send billions of more dollars to Israel every year, like we always have. And they've been consistently against that because both of them receive $0 from foreign agencies, from foreign PACs. Okay, where are we at right now? Are we at that point in America where we're run by the military industrial complex? I have a hunch from some books that I've been reading and research that I've been doing that we have been under the thumb of the military industrial complex for a long time. And we're just now, it's starting to get more brazen now. Okay. Let's get back to Epstein. Let's not remember what Trump said about us who were concerned about Epstein. He put out this long Truth Social tweet saying that he didn't want our support anymore. He said that the whole Epstein investigation was a hoax. And I can pull that clip too. Let me share my screen. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah. Trump tells those focused on Epstein he doesn't want their support anymore. President Trump on Wednesday trashed many MAGA members, condemning their ongoing push for files related to Jeffrey Epstein and the bemoaning that they are playing into Democrats' hands. The Democrats' new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. Trump posted on his Truth Social account. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. You heard him loud and clear, and I talked about this when we were going through the deep dive on Jeffrey Epstein on this show. He doesn't want our support anymore. If we're concerned with children being molested and trafficked, he doesn't want our support anymore. Why? He was the one, and his administration was the one who brought light to Jeffrey Epstein. And now he is demonizing his own base for standing up for the values that he supposedly had in the beginning, but he's lost grip with now. And originally, whenever I thought about Trump and Epstein, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to say, maybe he's not in the files because, definitely if he was in the files, the Democrats would have used that against him already. But the further I go in my life, and I feel like the more wisdom I acquire by talking to my dad, by talking to older men and older people in my life, by reading more books, by being in the Bible more. And by the way, you acquire the most wisdom by reading Scripture. Reading Scripture will make you a better spiritual discerner to be able to discern and have that, that gut feeling that you get whenever you know something's not right. Of course, you don't have a laundry list of evidence you can show to say, this and this and this and this is what's wrong. But you get you feeling, something's going on. Like, I don't know about that. Yeah. And I'll get, that's a whole other conversation that I'll get to later. But, the more wisdom that I've acquired, the more I'm realizing that I think Trump is in the Epstein files. In fact, Pam Bondi said he was in the Epstein files multiple times. And I have an article on that here. Let me pull that. And this is a document from Congress. If I can get my mouse to work here. Here we go. This is a document from Congress of Pam Bondi talking about Trump being in the files multiple times. When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times, according to senior administration officials. In May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the files, the officials said. Many of the high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing. Let me see if I can't find any more. I felt like there was more to that. Let me see. Let me scroll up. Bondi also told president at a meeting that the justice decided not to release more Jeffrey Epstein documents because of the presence of child pornography and the need to protect victims. Okay. Nobody was ever asking Pam Bondi to release pornography, number one. Number two, if Donald Trump was in these files multiple times, and maybe I'm looking at the files wrong, maybe I'm not looking at them correctly, but I can really only find Donald Trump like one time in the Epstein files that I'm looking at. And maybe somebody out there is more savvy with the files than I am. Okay. But she's saying he's in there multiple times. And then we keep getting these pushback dates of, yeah, well, we're going to release the Epstein files, send them to jail. You know, we have the client list on our desk right now. And I covered all of this in our deep dive with Jeffrey Epstein. And when I first started this show, and now we're saying, oh, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you for standing up for this? Why do you believe that this was a Democrat hoax? Sure, we talked about it at the beginning of the administration, but it was all just the Democrats. What I'm coming to learn is Trump is in those files. There's no other way in my mind to slice it or dice it. He's been told he's been in there multiple times. In the unredacted versions, I can only find him once, so I can't even imagine what's redacted. And they kept on pushing back the deadlines, and then they released him, and it's like over half redactions. You're not even able to do it, which I don't even really understand redactions. Really, the only thing that should be redacted from the files from public view is pornography and names of victims. Everybody else, let their names be blasted. If these are the people that are abusing children, that are trafficking, that are involved in this, big sex ring, then let their names go. Who are you protecting? At the very least, you are protecting predators. And what it looks like to me is that you might be on that list of predators. I tried to give the benefit of the doubt for so long, but I can only give the benefit of the doubt for so long. It appears that the only thing that comes to my mind that makes sense is that Trump is on the Epstein list. Multiple times, like Pam Bondi has said. And the reason that the Democrats didn't come out with it before, whenever he was in his first presidency or whenever he was running the second time and lost, or it was stolen from him, which I do believe that, then the only conclusion to come to is that this is all theater. In all actuality, if you go back into the history of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and all these Democrats and the Clintons, the ones that Trump said on his first run around that he was going to send Hillary Clinton to jail, you go back into their past, they're all buddies. They're all business partners and buddies and going to parties together and sharing each other's planes and giving each other money and patting each other on the back. And there's pictures of them all together. And I've come to realize the reason that they don't rat each other out is because they're all part of the same team behind closed doors. We're run by a bunch of elites. This is not any longer a Republican versus Democrat country. It's not a left versus right country. This is satanic elites, evil against good, against the everyday people. Against the people like you and me who go to work every day. It is literally Satan against God. That is what all of this is about. All of this Republican and Democrat that we have been doing for so many years, all this left versus right that we've been doing for so many years, is it's a psychological operation. All the left and right that we've been doing for so many years is a psychological operation to keep us like this. And while we're doing like this, the people in power amass more power, and amass more money. Guess whose pockets are being bolstered? The military-industrial complex. Billions of dollars sent to Israel. Billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. Bombs dropped in Iran on behalf of Israel. Regime change in Venezuela because, we're just so good. Our government is so good that we just want to police the world and we want to, oh, no, actually, that's not true. Trump just straight out said that, hey, we really wanted their oil. At least he's being honest. And I think Tucker Carlson has it right. I think we're no longer a democratic republic. We're no longer a republic or have any representation at all. We are an empire. And at least in that situation, Trump was being honest. He was being honest. The acquiring of Greenland, the talking of annexing Greenland and Canada, the regime change in Venezuela, all this stuff is empire behavior. bolstering ICE to break into American citizens' houses without a search warrant. This is all of the actions of like the British government during the War of our Independence. They were allowed to just break into people's houses to do whatever they want. We went to war over what, like a 3% tax and then being able to break into people's houses. Right now, we're taxed almost half on everything, if not more. And now we've got ICE agents just able to break into anybody's house. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where's America first? We are constantly pouring billions of dollars into other countries. We are constantly sending our military overseas to do regime change operations, to defend foreign countries, to police the world. Whenever we've got a laundry list of items back here, that we need taken care of. What is going on? Where is the conservative movement? And it isn't just the federal government level. I live in Arkansas. I can talk about what's going on in Arkansas too. An article came out not too long ago that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, our governor, announced that Arkansas, will be building all the missiles for the Iron Dome in Israel. Go figure. What is going on? What is going on? There's also this huge divide in the right where you're not allowed to criticize Israeli government. Why not? Why, as a conservative, free speech believing patriot, can you not criticize a foreign government? Why can you not prod narratives? We're all for free speech. We're all for all of these things. Why can't we ask questions? I had a few other articles here that I was going to share, and let me see what it was. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Trump on Epstein, Trump traveled on Epstein's plane more than previously thought, newly released prosecutor's email says. U.S. President Donald Trump was listed as a passenger on the private jet of late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein 8 times between 1993 and 1996. New email released by the U.S. Department of Justice says. Okay. Nothing to see here. I cannot believe that any of you are looking sideways at this. I can't believe that I'm even thinking about it. I'm really an idiot. I'm really a Democrat for caring about children, caring about people who are associated with sexual deviance. It's just crazy. I can't believe I care. Just another one just to add. U.S. has given at least $21.7 billion in military aid to Israel since the war in Gaza began, report says. And this is largely under Trump's administration. This article is about the Biden and the Trump administration, but much of this $21.7 billion was given during this Trump administration. No new wars, we said. No new wars. America first. America first. Anyway, maybe this whole episode was a ramble, but I want to hear back from you. What do you all think about what is going on with the MAGA movement? What's going on with the conservative movement? Where are we at? Where are we at? I think we are definitely entering a neocon area, a neoconservative era, an imperial era. And we're not listening to the rule of law. And we're just constantly interested in the bolstering of the pockets of the military industrial complex. Follow the money. Follow the money every time. It's all about the money. If you follow the money and you figure out whose pockets are being lined by all of these foreign wars and regime changes that we are involved in all of the time, you'll start to see a pretty nasty picture coming together. But anyway, that's all the rant that I have for you all today, and I want to hear back from you. So you can, if I've talked about anything that's piqued your interest, comment your thoughts here in the comments of this video wherever you're watching it. Or if you have a more long form opinion or information about the things I've talked about, you can always email me at zackreardonmedia@gmail.com. Follow me on all my social media platforms at It's Zack Reardon. That is It's Zack Reardon, and I will see you all next time on Zack Reardon Unfiltered.